I would say for 2025, as businesses continue to digital transform, we have had a lot of breaches. We have the massive breach and so forth through the years and so forth. I think, and as you mentioned to me, and you will have some level of insight too, this is possibly the year where cyber risk management is really critical. If you take for government for instance, if government, which is a critical national infrastructure, now they want to call it CIP for them, for the ministers and so forth, critical infrastructure, information protection. If government goes down, how are you going to do that? Everybody said they have money and so forth, but if you also attack the banks, so you look at critical infrastructure on the whole, and you have a nation state, or let's say like our prime minister speak very boldly on the platform. So you have like Israel, you can have Ukraine, you can have Russia who decide to turn their attention to the Caribbean. We already have our missions out there, our emails and everything. All it is needed is a compromise outside of compromising a digital asset. So much easier to send an email and get in. The fact is that when you have multiple of these agencies goes down, how it affects the country. And we haven't heard that. We haven't heard that if you have a cyber terrorist attack, which takes out the majority of these critical components, we already know, and this asked on TV, when the hospital was attacked, how many people died? How many old persons who could not get treatment? I know persons who would turn away because they could not get operations, information. So what would be the human catastrophe effect if this country was to lose a system for at least a week, especially for those who are very fragile in society, for those who depend on the state for, we use our friends language, who needs to be supplemented diet, maybe for medication, transportation, etc. All right, that's about basically it. If there's no other questions, I open the floor to the next colleague who's going to be talking cybersecurity awareness training.
Insights?
Yes, we
Breaches by industry.
which one?
There's a 19 to 24.
Which one? This one here? This one here? This here? Which one? That is IT services? Yeah, I mean, think about it. If you look at some of the tracks that have gone on, the thing which we don't hear much about in terms of the Costa Rica and some of those other places, persons actually, and we all know what sort of things. Charles Strait, the one a little bit different. But the fact is, if you want to get into an organization, who's the best? I mean, you can separate it, but you can say that's a third party supply chain. That's the biggest risk today now, third party supply chain.
Edward, I think you started to touch on it a little bit, but what is the absolute worst case scenario that could happen from with Barbados?
Barbados? What we have been trying to highlight is that this country is driven by tourism and economic investment. And if those which you call stakeholders government stakeholders lose trust in our digital posture or digital hygiene, then you don't get investment. Why should I come to a country that a cyber criminal might know because I know I'm traveling and I have some form of money, I may be the CEO of a company or whatever, a big salesman. I work for a company where this guy was actually getting more money than the CEO, and he was getting close to $90,000 a month. And he was living down at the time, Port St. Charles. And we strictly brought him in to get the big clients like cities and so forth. So if I can detect and know that this person coming in, that I want to rob them or kill them or whatever process it is, it means then that I can't trust the system. But for me personally, I think that is worse, is where our country deemed unsafe because we are not keeping people quote unquote safe in an environment where people don't care for your life.
What about, breaches of Barbados ability to access other countries?
Same thing there. Again, loss of digital trust. Why would I come and do work, advise you, or whatever it is, when someone can then use you as a conduit to get to me? It may not be you have connected systems, but because you have breached what I have shared with you, now comes back to bite me. You know, my general communication, I like playing golf and stuff like that, there, sand, whatever else it is. You know, just come back, you know, friends with Florida, whatever it is. So you know what? Those are your general artifacts that can benefit for a person who can sell that they don't want to look into either harass you or exploit, etc. So for me, many within the field is a loss of digital trust that this country can have the external stakeholders, even internal but external stakeholders in doing business with the country. Okay?
One of your slides would be how do you get that? And Chinese. Right, right here. One thing, this is an observation. One of the things that I'm not seeing, but I'm probably privileged to is in training, because this is the trend that we're tracking.
Right.
Accessibility is first, you get on the top.
Right.
You need to access the database first, and you giving the person no alternative but to pay the ransom.
Right.
Right, this is a great trend that I'm not seeing it here, you
Right.
can't use that, but it's just something that I observed that probably wasn't actually put in our study.
Right.
That's something that we're actually tracking as well.
But remember that each actor has different processes.
But
And-
I
and this-
see
and
it
this-
as a growing trend in Eastern Europe.
Right.
as Europe.
Right.
So it's only a matter of time before it gets.
Yes, sir. I remember that this year, usually when you have the year, they're looking at 2023. So 2023, that was, I would say that was growing, but definitely we saw that a lot in 2024, where again, it blew a person's mind because remember, when a person think about a cybersecurity attack or a ransomware attack, think about encryption, which is too late. But what about scenarios where you are not encrypted, person have your data, therefore, this is just almost like a waste of time. Right? So I come into your organization, get your database, whatever I can glean, and basically state, you know what, if you don't pay me, you can sell it. And if you have like the forget what the name of the law or recently it's overseas, and you can leak it. So therefore you have that level of harassment that I would have mentioned, we should put it up here, but we have that level of harassment that somewhere that level of harassment is continuing to go up because people are looking at their reputation and because digital liabilities are going up. Before you just recover, I guess slap on the hand from maybe a data commissioner, possibly, I said if you're not in Europe, but now you have persons going back together, stakeholders and so forth that are willing to sue you because you would have tried to assure them that you had a very high cybersecurity posture, but not like. Right? So that's about basically it. I think I'm out of time. And
You're good, you're good.
you good? Any further questions? Right. Actually, no, I answered that nicely. Right. She's asking if harassment is taken. I like to talk. CBC is not really pushing me to talk about Barbados, but in the region, I would say for me personally, no. I think unfortunately, that's why I was trying to ask nicely. Until we have this nature within the region, that unless somebody is a politician, somebody is affected, until somebody dies, it's not going to be taken seriously. Until I want to say at least one person, at least a few people die, where the true investigation, person like Magnet, working with the cyber crime unit, working with other units to highlight this person life was taken or in serious jeopardy because of what happened a couple months or 2 years before. So until we get to that level, let's take for instance naked departure. I know some of you remember naked departure. Nobody never take it serious until they start to attach government officials. And then everybody just wants to shut. So that's our culture. Our culture, we are very open, we communicated, and it's a good culture. But not in today's high risk world right now. You know, we have had Bulgarians, I think Bulgarians that came to our country how long ago? 7 years ago. And it catch people off guard because why do people come to our poor little country and steal our little bit of money, and then they have to get this money because you know we don't get US money over yet. So why are you going to steal Beja money to most probably have to convert it back and go back overseas? So if someone could leave from the country on the other side of the world to come to us, then have to ask ourselves, do we really have something? Life. We are still trying to
Are we so easy that why did
Well, we are a third world country. Or second, whatever you want to think. So by that nature, you know, if you think about I love matrix. If you think about matrix, you know, we are a biological, electrical resource. So if I can take data to train you, because there's alleged that in Ukraine they were actually doing biological testing so that you can have strategic bioweapons. So if you think about the pharmaceutical industry and so many other areas, why do we not want to know what is at risk in the region? Can we understand who we are? What is our risk factors? So these are things that any crisis or any person within national security, especially if you're looking at sovereignty, want to sit down, look and say, well, outside of the general cybersecurity threats, what can we bring as a sovereign nation who wants to continue for the next 100 years? And we hope so. What can put us at risk? Can someone release a bioattack within an environment that strictly releases people with these genes? Those are all types of questions that for me, from a national security point of view, is how our data can be used against us.
what insider
Inside it.
regarding the statistics, the level or frequency of insider threats.
Within the region of ours.
Well, if you don't move,
Hmm.
they have numbers of both.
Well, the thing is that we're not pushed through to so we don't have that information. We really don't. We will hear randoms, but we don't know how many persons within an environment, you know, will allow a person into the environment outside of you just find some USB key or whatever else is. And that is something that I think as a second, third world country that we need to be serious about, because if a person is going to, I remember in 2009, 10, I've heard about actors who's trying to money launder. You have persons go to the banks to contact you online and they give you some small money to transfer. So if you think about that, why can someone not pay you to get into the organization? So at the end of the day, it does a reputation damage, especially banks. Don't want to let you, the public, know that your money is on safe or this is insured. The fact is that they're not doing the due diligence, they affect their policies and so forth. So a lot of information, not going to report it. It's not going to happen. Even in government, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I mean, like in America, they have this big thing about who funnel money when it comes to elections. But here in this country or in Caribbean or in many parts of the world, like a third world, you don't know. So I think it's a topic from a cyber risk management and from a security control perspective, which is in yours is ISO 27001, the NIST, or whatever framework we're using. The fact is, high trust or phishing undermine or security control framework or SOC. In those controls have a particular part that looks at insider threat. So when you're building up your program, you have to understand insider threat. You have to sit down and like a war game. If this person, because obviously you have purpose escalation, a person having too much responsibility, etc. If this person is compromised, how far can they go within the organization? So you sometimes, unfortunately, you have to treat your employees if they're a criminal to understand how to protect your resources. So in America, there's zero trust. Very important. When magnet look at stuff, when you have the necessary information that's produce those logs, who access what file, what particular time, what changes have been made, etc. Those become very, very important. And these are normal tools now within an environment. You have a very good EDR tool. Right, so not all EDR tools are the same. Or not every firewall is the same because sometimes you have to go down very deep. And that is why procurement becomes a very serious matter. Being able to carry out proof of concepts becomes very important, especially when you're looking at solutions and so forth. Y'all up now? Okay. You keep on saying it good, it's not. But question?
You're like a thought of what it's saying.
Right. Right.
This one of this, but not invite this. General, that's it's not about this environment.
Right.
All the that, don't zero trust, don't this, but sometimes breaches happen in where we just because this person was sure it's trying to reveal memorandums, all these different things that the and the threat actor following these threats.
Well, then maybe we need to be, then maybe in Barbados we need to embrace this type of brain building. That's why you're smiling. But yes, it's a cultural thing. I mean, we have been an open society. And I mean, this is what we are. Maybe you're a tourist camp. I mean, recently I heard a tourist camp in Barbados say, "Oh, I'm so proud." I mean, like, we are living in many years from where we have gone through from cassette, but I don't know the big reels, cassette. Then DVDs came in long. DVDs just had a little more to Blu-ray, and then we are streaming on the internet. From what was Walkmans to Discmans. So when you look at the trend, and for me, I see there's just not as friendly as before. But when tourists come and say that we are such lovely, communicated, a couple say that a person took them and showed them something. I want to do this time, and they weren't wrong. What I'm saying is that we pride ourselves as a nation or Caribbean to communicate, and that unfortunately is being used against us. Well, I think Brown one was still as good as it can, but the worst one to me was service. That was just unfair like that. That was when it happened. I remember getting the call. I didn't see it because I didn't have the track alerts. And I asked a few friends of mine. Some of you may or may not know I work on cars and tuning. And I communicate one guy said, "Oh, in my group, people talk about barbers." I was surprised because these people who don't even work in government knew about a breach at Barbers Physical Service. And what was even worse, I remember, I think it may be on my laptop, a big newspaper, and a little small area talk about it. And then I was so surprised after about 2-3 weeks, almost a whole month, they didn't admit that there was a breach and this and that. So therefore the culture, a lot of effort has to be played, I guess, from you in this room, starting in 2025, really need to go back and find all the rules. Because we all work in different businesses. go back in our groups and say, hey guys, you gotta take this serious. We have 2 breaches in Barbados already. What is going to happen? We're having a lot of killings in Barbados. I mean, that don't make sense, but people just show up. You know, as I said to my daughter, she's very fortunate and yet unfortunate. She saw what happened. They were passing at that same location. They thought a woman's going to be kidnapped. She said, that needs to jump out. That needs to jump out. And then to pull up guns, but they weren't shooting the woman, shoot that guy. They didn't see. So you have a situation where crime is on an increase. There's really no connection, but at some point, we have to look at Jamaica. We have to look at Trinidad, which is just next door. El Salvador, which is, I believe, his president, right? Yeah, leaving his president, you know, ain't on last forgiveness, that. Because at the end of the day, it's if you don't nip something in the bud, it's going to propagate, and you have a next generation. So in other words, if we don't teach our children about cybersecurity, it's going to come up as someone, as in the project said yesterday, we're going missing again. So therefore, you're gonna have these things where person just see it as a fun thing. They go online, they express, they meet some adult that care them for a world, and then like back to normal, we as parents don't have to know to deal with it. We as a society don't have to deal with a person now that the rest of their life, who might turn around and have children. So propagate the whole situation again. So I think that there needs to be a greater level of effort. I don't know if it's something that we might be able to do with some Commonwealth, but we need to connect our social responsibility. I don't really want to call it cyber, but how the digital environment affects us socially at many different levels. I can only hear this tune. We need to do research. So research might take another 10, 20 years, which means that by the time you finish to produce a report, we have already changed. We have already moved through it. Okay.
I just got one more question.
Oh, I still have time. No, I don't have a problem asking a question. I just wanted to make sure that we are on course.
I just want your opinions.
Right.
I wanted your opinion on these 3 hacks that we had. Statistical, we are in.
Let me ask you a
I have
question.
my opinion.
Well, let me ask you a question. And here, do we know what was lost in this?
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
So those scores. Because that was actually reached just out there. Voluntarily. So those
But for me, seeing the electoral list, not online, seeing it before when I first came into government. At that time when I saw it, I was like, what is this online? I said, oh, it's hidden through many different access. And I'm like, when I say access, like different layers of how to get to it on a website. So being as a person that hardened technology and reduce and firewall and stuff like that there, I know that you can traverse stuff. Amazing. When I heard about this updated list, I know they have done more. To me, that's the greatest breach. Because Brian had a selective view, even if it is there, but it's on one particular server. The statistical part, I don't know. See, that's the problem. They didn't say, well, this was a survey was carried out, but what was the survey doing? Could the survey have a little bit more information that could cross-reference the electoral list? But the electoral list is just like the telephone listing. Once I have that main list, I just complement it. So therefore, for me personally, the electoral list was the biggest leak. Well, it wasn't a leak. It's a transfer of information for the aid of a particular society, which we call criminal society.
It was the publication of the electoral.
Oh, you want me specific, special? It was the transfer of information. Transfer information in the hands of person who was wrong. There you go. Because it wasn't.
There's a couple of.
Or it's part of the share. Yeah, I mean, my thing is about it is that as the gentleman here and Neil does a lot of training on digital forensic tools and so forth. It's automation now. It doesn't take much. My good friend did Joey Morgan and pull him out. I remember the days when we were at Sand Beach. And you had that sort of programming. But now if I could throw something and I cross-reference on a line and so forth, I can finish because Barbados is what? Barbados is equivalent to a tongue in America. Tongue in America is equivalent to a tongue in China. So we're small. So if you use technology to generate that per state in America like that and a tongue, that means then that it doesn't take much to cross-reference and target. Like I said before, I'm not going to be surprised when the social engineer aspect for Barbados. And my problem is that I don't see why today, maybe through and they can keep it private. That's my thing. Through, and I'm hoping to see the private-public partnership, and you see at the Commonwealth if we can push that through CARICOM and PACS, where businesses can report with a high level of privacy of what is going on, so that when statistics come out, it doesn't have a print to whichever company it is, but you have an understanding that which nobody might not want, because we live in a society nobody wants like fingerprint. So if I say in 2025, review in 2026, that this has gone from 17, let's say this was Barbados, gone from 17 to 40, 50, let's say even as much as 70%. One will ask, well, why that happened? And then when you connect that, it's a possibility that the two government breaches is the cause of social engineering, then you have bigger ramification. Because we and you, from a business generation resource, the statistics say that 80% of the risks, or even general, 75% of the risks of business is humans. So we have now caused a risk to business, because social engineering, enhanced social engineering, AI-driven social engineering has been committed against us. And I will say this here to you. We ran an AI cyber awareness and we set it to level 5. And we do like WhatsApp too. And at that time, I had a number of companies wanting to speak. So I adjusted it and I left it to run. And I saw the email, so I sent them another email, and I always come to that email. Is this real or not? So I even have to know. I mean, I know to look for, but I have to know. But the statement is that it made me adjust now. Or when I send emails with pictures and so forth, which don't really help, because I don't think that users are being trained very well. I don't think that users are left to be right, because many organizations are doing that to make sure that we friendly user. But the fact is that I know the links at the bottom, and you can always right click and make sure that the link that show up or whatever it is, it goes to the website, which doesn't always justify, because you can also compromise the website with malware or whatever else it is. But the fact is, it changes your methodology of how you do things. And I think that's what's needed really now with things. And we start to see that there already. But we're just hoping that businesses do not cut budgets in terms of cybersecurity awareness training or the quality of cybersecurity awareness training. As I said recently to someone, when you think about risks, what does it cost you to recover? So let's say you charge $15,000 a year for a number of staff, but nothing compared to if you had a breach. And you have to recover, you gotta bring, incident investigator or whatever else, it costs money. It costs money, maybe close to sometimes 10, 20 times more. But at that point in time, do not understand that the human risk is, at this point in time, is very great. Because as your program, which is not when you come under cyber risk program, you have a situation where you might increase your firewall presence in terms of better configuration, maybe some pen testing. So it means then that a person might not be able to get in as easy, but then the email is not as good as email security might not be as good, or whatever data artifacts may person still bring machines into the organization. I can compromise it at home on the wireless. Yeah. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, right there, go ahead. One last one. Right.
Is there insurance available for cyber?
Yes.
Is there cyber insurance?
Yes. Yeah. And I will, yes. Yeah. CBL, that's correct.
Yeah.
The one up there on yes, CGM. One that's there on Morocco, forget what the name of that. Guardian, that it. So I partner with a initiative person did fundraising and so forth. And they're highlighting and we bring since 2021. Cyber insurance is going to increase. And the reason why cyber insurance is not being blamed because there's a lot of issues that we have today around ransomware attack. Because it is that you get a person up and running, you may pay or whatever else it is, but the fact is that you are not addressing the issue that caused it in the very first place. So you have actually funded terrorism, cyber terrorism. But so now you have premiums that have gone up tremendously. So and now they're now requiring compliance. I'm not quite sure how much in Barbados that is about to do stuff, but we personally have reached out to them, but we haven't seen the response where for you to insure a client, you should be able to knowingly know that they have a program that's literally working.
Which means that you are more than likely have to produce those.
Yes, or at least have a consultant come in, a certified consultant come in and review that. Because we also have another issue, gentlemen and ladies, may not be written like the industry that much, but we not. But where there are not a lot of companies doing vulnerability scans to look at the CVs, and they already know what they do have on this particular server and say, well, if they exploit this, this, that. So they're not doing penetration testing. So when you get onto the costs and so forth, be very wary of the type of services that you're getting. All right, Mr. Middleton, thank you so much for that presentation.